Knock at the Cabin is the brand new M. Night Shyamalan film that's hitting theaters exclusively on February the 3rd. The film is about dads played by Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge as they care for their daughter, Gwen, played by Kristen Coy, who's in her film debut. And when they're on their vacation at a cabin for a group of four, led by Dave Bautista, as well as Nikki Amuka Bird, Abby Quinn, and Rupert Grint, break into their cabin and give these three people a decision, either to sacrifice themselves or watch the world burn. The film is an hour and 40 minutes long and is rated R. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here on Mac Talks. We're talking about Knock at the Cabin. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Ring the bell if you're new. Comment down below as well. What are your thoughts on, first of all, M. Night Shyamalan? Do you like his movies? Do you not like his movies? He's a very divisive, motivated filmmaker. Let me know your thoughts on him in the comment section. Did you like this movie? Not like this movie? No spoilers, please, in the comment section. Also, please like this video, guys. That's how you support this channel. Down below, I do movie reviews, also TV show movie rankings, and box office breakdown shows. So let's get into Knock at the Cabin. As I said, M. Night Shyamalan is a very risky film director. He, following obviously that mega success of The Sixth Sense, went off and really had the luxury to make really whatever he's wanted ever since. And that's led to some really great rewards, and sometimes they might be some of the worst movies you've seen. But what I've always said is that I always get excited for a new M. Night Shyamalan movie, because sometimes it's all about a twist. Sometimes it's about the plot hooking you in, and the performances. Again, from his filmography, Split, Unbreakable are two of my favorite films of his. I did not recently he made a film in 2021 called Old, which I wasn't a huge fan of. Glass is one of my disappointed, even though I didn't hate the movie, I thought the movie was okay. It was one of my most disappointed movies of that year. So for me, he hasn't made really that type of movie since Split back in 2016. But I was very excited for this movie. The trailers really got me, and I'm just here for new, fresh, original content. That's what this movie is. So let's go positive, negatives in my score. This movie was intense as ever throughout the entire film. This film wastes no time. It is basically, you're at the cabin for basically the entire movie. And M. Night doesn't just wait around. They don't give you a couple scenes with our family here before they go to the cabin. We're already at the cabin and things go down right away. And that's one of the things I think I respect a lot about M. Night, is that his movies, he's only made one movie that's been over 2 hours long, and that is Glass, which was 2 hours and 7 minutes. Basically, all of his other movies are either 90 to 110 minutes, and obviously this is 100 minutes. But because it's 140 minutes, this film gets right into it, which I loved, and I wish more filmmakers just wanted to do. There's so many instances where where a lot of filmmakers want to do some exposition, get you some background. This movie says, no, we're going to rush you right into it. And you're basically on the edge of your seat throughout the entire runtime, because Shyamalan thrusts you right into the story. Another huge positive for me is that this is definitely the best performance of Dave Bautista's career. Again, I'm a big wrestling guy, WWE, so I've watched him since I was 8 years old as a wrestler, and now seeing him grow as this actor has been really great to watch from a distance. Obviously, the Guardians films, but also with Blade Runner 2049, Glass Onion, Army of the Dead. He's had a lot of I really like him as an actor, but this is definitely his strongest performance of his career. He's both threatening, but he's a weird type of threatening where he does seem like a normal dude. And that's really tough for him in a lot of his other movies, that they kind of mold him into a particular buff action hero. This film, yes, takes obviously his physique seriously, but he's just a normal person. He plays a person who is a teacher a coach of second graders at an elementary school. And you buy it every second. And that's because his performance is great. And he has one of the hardest jobs. is that he delivers basically all of the exposition in the movie about what their purpose is, why are they there, and why you should believe them. And his job, he plays the character of Leonard, to be the leader of this group, is that he has to spell so much exposition, and those type of characters, especially being your basically main character, that's tough to do. But the balance of a really good script and Batista's performance elevates this movie, and I was really impressed. I cannot wait to see him continue to grow as an actor, because this is definitely his best performance of his career. Obviously, the parents, played by Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge, also do a fantastic job in the movie. Aldridge is kind of the very hesitant of the two. He sees all of these people as cult people, and all these things are coincidences, and they don't make a lot of sense. And why would you believe something like that? And then Eric, played by Jonathan Groff, wants to believe in his husband, but he also wants to have his own beliefs on the situation. They're both excellent. The daughter, who I said played by Kristen Cui, hopefully I'm saying that name right. She is fantastic in her feature film debut. She doesn't have too much to do, but when she's in the movie and doing things, she's really excellent, especially that opening scene that she has, which I won't, again, spoil, but she's really great in that opening scene that I won't even get into. Batista's crew, which is played by Nikki Amuka-Bird, she does a really good job. She plays a nurse who gets involved in this situation. Abby Quinn plays a character who's also very interesting that you learn more about throughout the film. And then Redmond, played by Rupert Grint, who I don't think ever seen him outside of the Harry Potter franchise. I know this is another M. Night connection, as he's one of the lead actors in M. Night's written and produced show on Apple TV Plus, Servant, which is in its last season. But outside of Harry Potter, I've never really seen Rupert Grint, and this was a breath of fresh air because he was excellent in the movie. I wish he had a little bit more to do, because he was one of the most fascinating characters when you meet him for the first time. And again, from seeing a guy from Ron Weasley to now, you just don't think about it when you're watching this movie, and he is excellent in the film. And I really hope that these two M. Night projects get him more work in Hollywood. I also think the score is really good as well. And another thing that I like is that the plot hooks you right away. It's not only this film pertains to makes it a sci-fi film, but it's not. It's a question, and it really puts you in the shoes of the three people who are being asked this question, which is, if you were in this situation, would you make a sacrifice to save humanity? And I do think they do a great job of not knowing who to believe in the movie. Sometimes you want to believe, you think that some of these things that Batista's, Leonard's crew says is false, all connected, and they're a cult. But there's also times where you think that they're actually telling the truth. I think the balance of not knowing if they're a cult or not, or if they're telling the truth or not, it does do a great job of putting yourself in the situation, which is the thing that I thought I loved the most about the movie. I do have some negatives with the film. I do believe that at times the exposition goes a bit too much and a bit repetitive throughout the entire film. There's only so much that Leonard's character can even talk about, because he's tying these people up, telling them they have to make a sacrifice, and it's kind of the same thing over and over again. So for me, sometimes it did get a bit repetitive. The use of TV didn't feel as authentic, especially when you realize what the ending of the movie was. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. And while I actually really appreciate and respect the ending of this movie, I do think the biggest fault of the movie is that, from an emotional point of view, I just didn't care about all of the characters involved. There wasn't as emotional attachment as I think the movie expected me to have. That definitely, if you are very emotionally invested in the characters, I think the ending's going to absolutely work for you. But for me, it was not bad at any means. It was not an awful ending or one of the worst M. Night endings of all time. But I just wish I had more of an emotional punch, that I felt emotionally invested into the characters. And that's really because we're thrown into the situation, you don't really have any much detail on some of these characters outside of this situation. So it's sometimes hard to grasp who you're rooting for in the situation. But overall, A really good movie from M. Night Shyamalan, his best since Split in 2016. Back to form, in my opinion. Dave Bautista delivers a career best performance in this movie. While it does have some emotionally flat ending, possibly, and some repetitiveness in its exposition, I had a really good time watching Knock at the Cabin in theater, so I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I am going to go 75% for Knock at the Cabin. This film is exclusively in theaters, so please like, subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Comment down below my upcoming videos to the channel. Monday, you'll have my review of The Last of Us, episode 4 in spoiler fashion. Tuesday, box office breakdown show. Wednesday, review of the new episode of The Bad Batch, and more movie reviews. I've already done reviews of Shotgun Wedding this past week. More streaming reviews as well. I'll see you guys.